I'll go home as a beggar and never be your wife.
Hi, I'm Mary.
And I'm Katie, and this is The Housewife Did It.
True Crime Edition. Glitch Edition.
Yeah. We're on a
Katie,
journey.
yeah. Katie moved back to Minnesota and doesn't have Wi-Fi, so our dad sent her some cheapo satellite, and it's not doing well. So,
Exactly. That's the story.
yeah. Anyway, you know the drill. If you like our show, like, subscribe. If you liked our guest host last True Crime Edition, send her some love in our comments. And then let us know if you'd like to be next up.
Yeah. Well, tell them
knock
our things, Mary. What if they want jewelry?
Oh, yeah. If you want jewelry, you can use the code Mary788 on every jewels for a % off of your order. And we have a new sponsor.
We have a new
so
partnership.
Exciting.
Yes.
So we will be, hopefully, we will be editing this episode with Coolio for the first time. So we're very excited to get to work with them and use their resources for editing our audio.
Hopefully make your listening experience better.
Yeah. They're just getting built up, but if you have interest, it's coolio.ai. See if it's something that you could use. And we will jump into real-time true crime. First, Prince Andrew, that's the one, was arrested. All their names are the same. Was arrested for his involvement in the abuse on Epstein Island, but he has posted bail. But whatever. Michael Jordan is being looked at sideways for a video that has been circulating. And let me preface, I saw the headline and then it was swipe for the video, and when the video came up, I was like, oh, this is gonna be a joke. And it was not. I think I thought it was gonna be I don't know, not a child, I guess. I don't know. In the video, he can be seen standing on the sidelines of what I think is a car race. He's standing behind a little boy, and he repeatedly pinches his butt cheeks and then swipes his hand across his butt crack multiple times.
Yes. I didn't see the butt crack part. I saw the pinching. And the pinching did make me ask, who is this child to him? Right. Because, you can pinch your kid's butt.
Right, of course. I mean, it was a white child.
Oh, I missed that. But you probably shouldn't, credit card swipe their crack, ever.
He was, doing, this.
Interesting.
With his hand. Ring doorbell footage has been released from the front door of Nancy Guthrie's home from the evening she disappeared. In it, someone can be seen wearing a ski mask. They're clearly breaking into the home. At one point, they try to cover their face with a plant from the front porch, and then they just try to break the camera altogether. And
it's a lot of time you spent at the camera.
Right. I would spend a little time there as possible. Yeah. Somehow, the worst thing to come out of this piece of information is that people are sending blurry screenshots to ChatGPT and asking them to clarify the image. Some people are asking them to remove the mask and identify who it is. Surely that cannot be admissible in court. First of all, and second of all, if you genuinely think that it's going to be the correct answer, you are dumb, I fear. We'll let her get.
Yeah, like we'll do a full like. Oh, we've seen people do this before with like partial facial coverings, but like on someone where you can literally only see the eyeballs. What do you think AI is doing?
Right.
What is this magic power they have?
Right. All members of the Guthrie family have now been cleared. There was like speculation originally that one of her daughters may have been responsible, but she has also been cleared. Last true crime, we touched on how Nancy Guthrie's disappearance may be related to the Epstein files and Savannah's sit-down interviews with Epstein survivors. But on Crime Junkie, they also brought up like how close this was in time to like the Clintons, I guess, announcing like what did they announce? That they'll be like testifying or something?
Yeah, they're gonna testify, and they're gonna testify on camera.
And I think that like they said that like she was taken like the next day. Or like within the next 2 days or something like that. So interesting timing.
What's the idea?
They're just saying like maybe further like
confirming that it's related to the Epstein files.
Yeah.
Okay, sure.
And like, and one of them, big tinfoil hat girly, she was saying like she wonders even if it's like not like a hoax necessarily, but if it's like less like someone violently kidnapped her and more like somebody's trying to like use it for some kind of leverage in the political.
I feel like if that's what it was, they would have like made a request by now, and like the Guthrie family would have granted it.
Well, they have like sent ransom requests.
Yeah, but like I think that those have either like not been proven to be real or whatever, because like wouldn't they just give them whatever they want to get her back?
That's not really usually how ransom works. The police usually advise against that.
Yeah, I mean, I guess that's how Epstein rings continue.
Yeah. Well, and then they also like mentioned, they said something about like that they worry that this is gonna like become like, I don't know, that they're worried that this was like staged to be blamed on like an immigrant and that it's gonna be used to like push the ICE agenda. And I was like, look, I'm all for like taking down the ICE agenda, but like, what are you talking about?
Sherry Papini, is that you? Yeah, well, I guess I'm thinking of like the videos Savannah has put out that are like, okay, like we are ready to talk to you and like negotiate with you. And all she has, I mean, and I guess they haven't gotten this, but she's just said like we need proof of life before and we need verifiable proof of life that's not AI. So, I mean, I guess that means they haven't gotten that yet.
Yeah. Okay. So, here's the deal, people. For once in my life, I got really into writing this script. I was churning out gold, baby. I was on a roll. I finished it, and I had 2 pages. So, I was like, let me add a second case. And I did it again. More gold. 3 pages. So, at the time I wrote this little intro, so there's no telling how many cases I've added now. I have 3. So, you and I are about to go on a little journey together. That journey is all over the damn place. From Texas to South Carolina. From 1999 to 2006. We're just bebopping around. But first... Minisodes. Yeah, baby minisodes. And then I'm going to talk my shit at the end.
Okay.
But first, a place all too familiar to Katie and I. In the summer of 2009, Big Brother 11 graced our television screens. Mm-hmm. Among the cast, in which what was usual at that time was one black man and one black woman, was Chima. I was right. Simone Benson was one of the cast members that year, the sole black woman, as it were. During her time in the Big Brother house, Chima was seen as an instigator and someone unwilling to be part of the team. Again, like pretty par for the course, Big Brother. And she was actually removed from the house because she refused to wear her microphone, and then she started breaking them on purpose.
Queen.
Talking about which you're not supposed to do, and she wouldn't stop, and she said that she wouldn't stop unless they came and pulled her ass out themselves, basically. And then the head of the show was like, "Hey, come to the diary room." Mm-hmm. So that was our introduction to Chima. Mm-hmm. But in 1999, Chima was in a different kind of group living situation. She was 21 years old and was living at her Alpha Kappa Alpha sorority house at the University of Texas in Arlington. On February 22nd, 1999, Chima was in the apartment she shared with her sorority sisters when a man broke in. He had his face obscured, and he demanded that Chima perform oral sex on him. She complied, but during the assault, she bit him. Yeah, she did.
Nice.
Hell yeah. He then beat her repeatedly, but Chima was ultimately able to fight him off. He fled, and Chima survived the attack. Her rape and assault were linked to several other attacks that happened around the same time. On September 21st, 1998, a woman had been raped in her apartment in Lancaster, Texas. On October 2nd, a Dallas police officer was raped at gunpoint inside her home, and her police weapon was stolen. On December 18th, another woman was raped in her apartment in Lancaster. And incidentally, after Chima's attack, it seemed like the crime spree was at an end, probably because he had an injured member. Mm-hmm. But on October 26th, 1999, a 22-year-old woman in Grand Prairie, Texas, was raped in her apartment, which her attacker had entered through a sliding glass door. Then, on September 5th, 2000, police made an arrest in 2 unsolved murders of elementary school teachers. On September 17th, 1996, the body of 25-year-old Christine Huyen Vu was found inside of her bathtub, tied up with duct tape. Her boyfriend had found her and called the police. The police found no sign of forced entry, struggle, or robbery. Her body showed only. She confirmed that her cause of death was manual strangulation accompanied by drowning, meaning she was attacked and killed in the bathtub. On December 24th of the same year, a woman called her aunt and uncle and told them she was concerned about her sister, 22-year-old Wendy Rochelle Prescott. The two had been planning, brave souls, a last-minute Christmas Eve shopping trip. But, I know, but when Wendy didn't show up, her sister began to worry. That night, their uncle agreed to go to Wendy's apartment in Mansfield to check on her. Am I boring you?
No, it's so sleepy. I'm Andy Cohen when Dorit talks.
Am I boring you?
She's like, Andy, not again!
Like, she's like Pavlov's dog, Tim.
Yeah.
Anyway, he went to the apartment to check on her. When he entered her home, he found her naked body lying face down in a partially full bathtub tied up with duct tape. Like Christine, Wendy had been attacked and killed inside the bathtub. There were many things about these attacks.
Is the assumption that they were, like, in the middle of bathing?
I think so.
And someone happened to break in?
Right.
Or is this person, like, forcing them into the bathtub? That feels like it couldn't happen twice. Like, that you just walk in someone's house and they happen to be in the bath. Maybe it happened once and then he was like, cool, that works.
I think that they believe they were already taking a bath because, like, in Christine's attack, they said, like, there was literally, like, not a thing out of place in the apartment. So, like, I feel like that kind of tracks with, like, you're in your bathtub relaxing. Yeah. He can just, like, walk through the house without touching anything.
Yeah,
you know? Like Christine, Wendy had been attacked and killed inside the bathtub. There were many things about these attacks that linked them together, but what really convinced police that there was likely a serial rapist and murderer lurking around was that the two women had identical forehead wounds. Don't know what that means.
It's Ash Wednesday.
They dubbed him the bathtub killer and spent years trying to uncover his identity.
Is that the only people he killed?
Yes,
that we know of at that time. Okay.
Yes.
I was gonna say, but he's done lots of other things.
Right.
He's like, give me credit.
Right. He's certainly willing.
Yeah.
On March 7th, 1999, a man was caught attempting to burglarize a home in DeSoto, Texas, and was arrested. During the booking, his fingerprints were found to match not only those at the scenes of Christine's... No, sorry, I read that wrong. I skipped a line. During the booking, his fingerprints were recorded and uploaded into the FBI database, and then in September of the following year, those fingerprints were found to match not only those at the scenes of Christine's and Wendy's murders, but also at least 5 unsolved rape cases, including Chima's. The man was identified as Dale Chenette. He was charged with 2 counts of capital murder and multiple counts of rape. He was indicted for both counts of murder and the 2 counts of rape on November 17th, 2000. On April 2nd, 2001, the prosecution expressed intent to seek the death penalty. The jury was selected in September of 2002, and in January of 2003, trial began. They can only handle one thing a year.
Yeah. Seriously.
Yeah. On January 8th...
He's like, look how much I accomplished in a year.
Yeah. I mean... On January 8th, the jury found Chenette guilty of capital murder, and on January 26th, he was sentenced to death. He tried to appeal his case in September of 2004, but it was rejected. He tried again in April of 2005, and the Texas Court of Criminal Appeals granted appeal and sent his case to the lower courts for review, and then he lost it in March of 2007. He was scheduled to be executed on November 27th, 2007, but on October 18th, he was granted a stay of execution because he had another appeal pending. So his execution was rescheduled for February 10th, 2009. He tried several more times to appeal, but it was denied, and the parole board refused to commute his sentence to life without parole. His final appeal was denied by the U.S. Supreme Court an hour before he was put to death by lethal injection. Please.
So he was executed right before she went on Big Brother? Nice.
No revenge, just this.
Yeah, I mean, look, we're anti-death penalty, but we do love a little, like, kismet.
Alright, moving on.
Alright, cool. Are they gonna, like, all be similar?
We'll get there.
Okay.
I mean, they all have, like, a survival element.
Okay. Okay.
Okay. Yes. So, second story of the day. At around 8:30 p.m. on May 24th, 2000, 17-year-old Elizabeth Reiser and her best friend, 18-year-old Brandi Hicks, were leaving a Hollywood video in the Newtown Mall near New Philadelphia, Ohio. They were planning
on that best friend.
I know. They were planning a movie night to relax after their final exams. They were only 2 days away from their high school graduation. And, like, from what I understand, the movie nights were, like, their jam, you know? This was, like, normal.
Lorelai and Rory.
Right, this was, like, their normal night. As they were heading out, chatting about a recent choir banquet at church, they were approached by a man, probably in his mid to late 20s, who asked them for a ride. He was desperate for a ride, in fact. He offered them money. He was, like, really pleading with them for this ride. And, like, they were hesitant, especially Elizabeth. He talked to them for quite some time, and Liz was becoming uneasy. But Brandi felt like it would be safe. Like, there's two of us, one of him, and the girls ultimately agreed to give him a ride. Plus, like, people said these two were known for, like, being kind, and, like, it was not out of the ordinary for them to want to do a good deed for someone. And so, like, they're like, of course, like, if you need a ride, we'll give you a ride. You seem like you really need a ride.
Mm-hmm.
As the ride went on, the girls began to become increasingly more uncomfortable with the man in their car. They had asked him to give them directions to where he needed to go, but the directions were starting to not make sense. So eventually they asked him to get out of the car. Instead, he pulled out a gun. And he pulled out a gun, and he said he was going to shoot them if they didn't keep driving.
Drive to where?
Right. Well, he's going to tell them. So he gave them directions to a field on the outskirts of town.
Great.
When they got there, he tied Brandi to the steering wheel of the car with her shoelace and ordered Elizabeth to get out of the car, and he forced her into a secluded field. Once...
Shoelace?
Every time I hear something like that, I'm like, how long did it take you to get it out of their shoe?
Yeah.
You're wasting time.
Yeah.
Once in the field, the man slashed Liz's throat, nearly severing her head, and began repeatedly stabbing her in the neck, back, and face until his knife broke. He then returned to the car where
he had a gun.
Right. He then returned to the car where he untied Brandi and brought her out into the field, forcing her to watch Elizabeth take her last breaths.
Oh my god. So, like, he didn't make her watch what he did. He just was like, now I've already done it. Just watch her
watch her die. Yeah.
That's crazy.
This isn't funny. He put socks over his hands.
Okay.
To avoid fingerprints.
Mm-hmm.
Like, this man thought of nothing. Like, you're spending all your time getting the shoelace out to tie her up. You got to take off your own socks and put them over your hands. And
you're walking around looking like this.
A rat.
That's not very scary.
He drove Brandi to a railroad.
Okay.
Area above the Tuscarawas River. he... Stop laughing.
No one was laughing at me yawning
again. He raped her multiple times, strangled her with her shoelaces, and then attempted to break her neck 3 times.
Attempted?
Yeah. 3 times, too. She lost consciousness. She would, lose consciousness each time. And then, after the 3rd attempt at breaking her neck, she woke up, but she laid on the ground and, pretended to be dead. So the man picked her up and attempted to dispose of her body by throwing it off of the railroad tracks that formed, a bridge over the river. But her foot got caught between the wooden boards, and she was left dangling upside down, but, still alive. So she, pulled her foot free and just, fell into the water. And then, but he was, still there. And so she, got herself up to the surface of the water and, floated on top of the water, but she was still pretending to be dead. Because he was standing on the bridge just, talking to himself and kicking rocks into the water. He eventually left, and the following morning, she finally was able to, he was finally gone long enough that she felt safe enough to get out of the water, and she flagged down a passing car and told them what had happened. She was rushed to Union Hospital for treatment. While there, she gave police a description of the man who had attacked her and murdered her best friend. Around the same time, the local sheriff's office received a call from a woman reporting that her son had committed a horrific crime. We love a mother of a boy who's not a boy mom. You know what I'm saying?
How does she know? He came right home and said, "Mom, guess what I did?"
Not to Mom. She told them that her son-in-law had more information. So they called him. His name was Jeff Mullenix, and he told police that his brother-in-law, 27-year-old Matthew Vaca, had confessed to him. Vaca had come to Jeff's house late the previous evening and told him he desperately needed to show him something. So Vaca brought Jeff out to the crime scene and showed him Liz's body and the shattered knife that he had left at the scene.
Oh, when you say I want to show you something, you got it. I gotta go take a trip to see the thing?
When my kids say I gotta show you something, but you have to come over here for it, I'm done. I'm out.
Yeah. Bye. It's kind of funny that the brother-in-law, he's like, I'm not calling the police yet. I'm gonna call his mama.
Yeah. At the time of the murder, Vaca was on probation for theft and forgery and had previously been arrested for threatening to kill his wife with a shotgun. He was quickly...
have a wife?
He was quickly arrested after the reports to the police. He was charged with 11 counts for the crimes against Brandi and Elizabeth, including Elizabeth's murder. In court, Brandi testified against Vaca while her family and Elizabeth's watched the trial unfold. Matthew Vaca was ultimately found guilty and sentenced to 96.5 years in the Mansfield Correctional Institution in Ohio, and he will be eligible for parole in 2096.
Nice.
Now, for our final story of the day.
Woo!
On September 6th, 2006, 14-year-old Elizabeth Shoaf stepped off of her school bus in Lugoff, South Carolina, and almost immediately was approached by a police officer. How the bus driver didn't see this, don't know. Only 400 meters from her front door, the officer told Elizabeth that her parents had been operating and expanding an illegal marijuana operation, and that as a result, Elizabeth was being put under arrest.
Oh.
Mm-hmm. She was handcuffed.
You said she was how old?
14.
Okay.
She was handcuffed and led into the woods near her house, where she was then sexually assaulted. The officer, who we've all, I'm sure, guessed by now was not actually a police officer, then walked Elizabeth in circles around the woods until she became disoriented. Elizabeth was then led into a hole in the ground, an 8x8 makeshift underground bunker. What Elizabeth did not realize at the time was that she was only a mile from her home.
I'm ill.
Yeah.
My claustrophobia.
I know.
I would literally just be like, kill me, please kill me.
Well, you gotta listen to this, because homegirl was doing the damn thing. Once Elizabeth was inside the bunker, she was forced to strip naked and was chained up. She was then sexually assaulted several more times. Elizabeth was kept in the bunker over a 10-day period with her kidnapper. I don't know if he was coming in and out or if he was there all the time, but he was there. He would threaten to kill her and hang explosive devices from her neck. But Elizabeth, even despite this, tried to gain his trust. She would talk to him about things he seemed interested in, and she worked really hard to humanize herself, and it began to work. Throughout the 10 days, as Elizabeth...
I just think, how much of, a panic attack can these people handle? Because, how victims and survivors of these things don't just have a panic attack is beyond me.
And she's 14.
And I assume that once that starts, most of these people, and maybe this does happen and we don't know because they killed them, because I assume that if I start having a panic attack, they're just going to take me out. Yeah. But you put me in a bunker underground, bro, I'm not lasting 10 minutes.
Right.
Let alone 10 days.
Truly. As Elizabeth's captor began to trust her, he would allow her out of the bunker for small amounts of time. On the 10th day, Elizabeth asked him...
My house.
Yeah, so wait a second. These woods look familiar. She asked him if she could borrow his phone to play games, and he said yes. After...
Got any games?
I was like, when we do the mood board, got any games? After playing for a while, her abductor fell asleep. Elizabeth then took the opportunity to text her mother and friends from the phone, who alerted police. Now, why are you staring at me?
Huh?
You're staring at me.
What?
Never mind.
Because you're telling a story.
Okay. Now, of course, the police must have been looking everywhere for this girl. Wrong. They believed Elizabeth had run away.
Well, yeah, how do they know? Oh. I was going to say, how do they know from her text? She doesn't know where she is.
She's in a bunker.
Sure. I mean, I guess, and they know she's alive, so they know...
You say, I've been kidnapped. Police had believed Elizabeth to be a runaway, and they had refused to issue an Amber Alert for her disappearance. So, when Elizabeth's mother called the sheriff's department about the text she had received, they kind of believed it was a hoax. They were like, yeah, right.
That her daughter was like fucking with her, or
no,
like that the mom is fucking with him?
Just that it wasn't really her.
Okay.
Which is crazy because police had also been in contact with a woman named Cynthia Hall, who had reported her boyfriend to Kershaw County's Department of Social Services. She and her boyfriend, Vincent Wayne Filyaw, had gone through a bit of a rough patch in November of 2005 after her daughter confided in her that her boyfriend had drugged her with Benadryl and molested her while she slept.
Her daughter?
Yes.
The girlfriend's daughter?
Yes.
Great.
That's the one. Filyaw thought that he was being mistreated by the police who wanted to arrest him for molesting a child.
Mm-hmm.
So, since that time, he had been
Bunker's
evading
like for him.
Yes, since that time, he had been evading arrest by hiding in a network of underground tunnels he had dug in the area.
Wait, so could she get somewhere?
I know. So the bunkers, there's 2 bunkers.
From her bunker?
No. There's 2 bunkers, and then there's the tunnels, but they're all like separated.
Okay.
Filyaw's girlfriend.
Freak.
I know. Filyaw's girlfriend provided him with food and other supplies, but homegirl was like on the fence, I guess, because she was also providing police with his phone number, which they used to triangulate the location of his phone, and wouldn't you know it, it pinged off of cell phone towers, placing it somewhere in the area of Elizabeth's house.
Crazy.
She also showed them his other bunker, and so they were like, oh, it's a bunker situation. Yeah.
I'm so confused by his girlfriend.
I know. She doesn't make sense. As Elizabeth sat waiting in the bunker, her captor, Vincent Filyaw, woke up and saw on the battery-powered television that he was a potential suspect in her kidnapping. So he turned to his closest confidant and asked Elizabeth for advice, and she was more than happy to help. She suggested he run as far as he could go to avoid being captured. And he did. He left.
She suggested he do what?
Run.
As far as he could?
Yes.
Does she
avoid being captured.
Like, can she get out of the bunker by herself?
Yes.
Okay, cool.
So
I was like, if he runs, is she trapped?
Yeah. So he ran, and the next morning, Elizabeth left the bunker, somehow avoiding the booby-trapped entrance that had been rigged with explosives.
Mm-hmm.
And waited until she was found by a rescue team.
Great.
When Elizabeth was found, it became clear to investigators how hard she had worked to make sure she survived and was saved. The captain of the Kershaw County Sheriff's Department said, quote, "Not only was she very brave, she was also very smart and did several things that greatly improved her chances of survival." End quote. So not only did she build this man's trust as they sat together in the bunker, but she also left breadcrumbs to be found by. So while they were walking into the woods, Elizabeth dropped her shoes, hoping someone would find them and follow them deeper into the woods. And during the times when Filyaw would let her out of the bunker, she pulled strands of her hair out and draped them over tree branches, hoping that search dogs might be able to pick up her scent.
So smart.
I know. Even like how easily she manipulated him into letting her use his phone and then convinced him to just leave the bunker were like amazing. On September 17th, Filia surrendered to the police on Interstate 20 in Richland County, just 5 miles from his house. During his arrest, he was found to be carrying a taser, a pellet gun, and a knife. He was charged with kidnapping, 10 counts of criminal misconduct, possession of an incendiary device, which was a flare gun, and impersonating a police officer. His girlfriend and his mother, Ginger Cobb, were arrested the same week for charges of aiding his evasion of police. Cynthia Hall was also charged as an accessory in Elizabeth's abduction and an accessory for neglect in the case of the molestation of her daughter. If found guilty of any of the charges for Elizabeth's kidnapping, Filia would spend years in jail, if not his life. So it was 1 year for impersonating a police officer, 20 years for second-degree criminal sexual conduct with a minor, 20 years for attempted armed robbery, 30 years for 2 counts of possession of explosives, 30 years for kidnapping, and 300 years for 10 counts of first-degree criminal sexual conduct. He pleaded guilty to all counts just before the start of the trial. Elizabeth was too emotional to testify, so her attorney read her victim impact statement for her. And Filia was given the maximum sentence, 421 years in prison without the possibility of parole, to be served consecutively.
Wow.
He was then separately convicted of first-degree criminal sexual conduct with a minor for his outstanding warrant for the sexual assault of Cynthia Hall's daughter. And he received an additional 20 years in prison and was incarcerated at the maximum security unit at Kirkland Correctional Institution. On May 3rd, 2021, he died at the age of 51 from natural causes. If you're 51 dying of natural causes, you fucked up. Since Elizabeth...
I just never know what that means. Like, natural causes can just be, like, a stroke, a heart attack, a brain tumor. Like, that's, like, natural. It's, like, in your body, but...
Since Elizabeth Shoaf was only 14 at the time of her kidnapping, she remained anonymous in the media. However, after Filia was convicted in 2008, she voluntarily identified herself and gave a public impact statement. She made several media appearances that year to tell her story, including the Today Show, Dateline, and an Investigation Discovery series. Her story was also turned into a Lifetime movie in 2016 called Girl in the Bunker. And I would be remiss not to mention that one of our patron saints of the podcast, Keith Morrison, covered Elizabeth's case on an episode of Dateline, and he ended it with, like, such a beautiful quote. It's something that, like, stands out to anyone who delves into this case. Like, anytime I've heard it covered, he said, quote, "Every once in a while, a dark tale turns out well, and the worst in human behavior is overcome by the best." End quote.
Cute.
So, 3 cases in, it was still an incredibly short script. And so, let me just talk my shit, I suppose. When I put multiple cases into one script, I try to pick cases that have, like, a common factor. And often the reason they're so short is because there isn't a lot of information on them. So, like... keep in mind, we're an incredibly small podcast. My resources are essentially what I can find on the internet and on TV and on other podcasts, and that research has to be done outside of my actual job. So I do the best I can with the information I have. And these 3 cases were some of the hardest to gather information on I've ever dealt with. That being said, I connected them based on 3 incredible young women and girls who fought like hell to survive. Chima, Brandi, and Elizabeth are considered heroes of their own story. And it made me think of all the young adults and children that were victimized by members of our own government and the elite of our society over and over again. The ones that survived and the ones that didn't. If you listen to this episode and you rooted for these girls to fight for their lives, and you were pleased with the outcome of their abusers being brought to justice, but you don't think our sitting president should be prosecuted for the same types of crimes, then you need help. And I mean this so seriously. If you think rapists and murderers and pedophiles are bad and should be punished to the full extent of the law, but you are trying to worm your way around the harsh truth that you may have voted for one, then you truly do need to sit down and ask yourself what your priorities are and what matters to you. It is okay if you were wrong. It's okay to admit, like, I wanted to wait until I had more information. There's a bulkier version of the files out now. I could take them with a little more weight than what I believed before. But if you're refusing to believe it because you voted for him, their morality has been lost. And I think, like, the hardest part of it is, like, for people who have, like, been saying this, you have to wonder, like, where is your breaking point? What's your deal breaker? And his name is in those files tens of thousands of times in emails about rape, sexual abuse, murder, eating babies. That has to be a deal breaker. And if you listen to these cases and it was black and white for you, then the Epstein file should be black and white for you too. The King of England today stood by and watched as his own brother, not today,
on his birthday,
as his own brother was arrested for what he was accused of doing in those files. He then praised law enforcement for doing the right thing in catching a predator he grew up with and loved, a predator he had spent his whole life with and thought he knew at his core. And he agreed that regardless of who it was, that predator had to be held accountable. So if he can let go of the brother he thought he knew for the sake of children who were harmed relentlessly, then you can let go of the man you thought you voted for the same reason.
Yeah. Yeah, I think that, like, a huge part of like, your point is, like, to believe whether, I mean, I don't think most people have this, like, as a conscious belief, but, like, to feel stuck in supporting someone who, at the very least, has sexually assaulted adults. We do know that for a fact. Yeah. And is friends with and employs people who have sexually assaulted children. If you, like, can't reconcile that because you don't want your vote to have been wrong, like, there are people, like, who were married to serial killers, who are the children of serial killers, who are the siblings, the friends, the whatever, who are, like, in close relation with people who they have to reconcile that person is not who they thought they were. Yeah. So, like, my empathy for your ability to recognize that the person you voted for, much like any time you vote for someone, like, they get in office and they may not do what you wanted them to do, and they weren't who you thought they were or who they said they were going to be. Like, we have to be able to say, like, yeah, I was wrong.
Yeah, and that's okay.
And
I would never say I'm wrong because I'm an Aries, but, like, it's okay for other people to do it.
Also, Mary's not saying if you're an Aries who voted for Donald Trump.
No, yeah. Aries wouldn't.
You don't get that pass.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think that was a good tie-in. You. I think, yes, I mean, it is true that it's, like, these same people. And I don't even want to say, like, these people, because, like, there are, like, very black and white cut and dry bad things in our society, in our world, and like we are all in agreement that like Nancy Guthrie should live and should get returned to her home and should never have been kidnapped. And we are all in agreement that like
babies shouldn't be eaten.
We should not eat babies. And also, like, we don't get to ignore the people who do those things. Right. Like, we don't get to sit there and go, like, oh, Nancy's home. Who cares who took her? We would never do... That's not going to happen. Like, there's no way that's going to happen. And so, I think I heard they've done a few interviews with, like, survivors who were victims of formerly Prince Andrew, and an interview with Virginia Giuffre's brother, because she is not alive anymore to tell this story, whatever you think happened there. But they asked her brother, like, what do you think she would say? And he said, I can't say that on national television, but I think she would feel vindicated. And like, yeah, like if you are in any way sitting there and saying like, nice, they got him, they got the bad guy, I need you to like open your eyes.
Recognize all the bad guys.
The bad guys can be people who you've spent your whole life thinking good guys.
Like, I mean, I feel like I think about a lot, like, as someone with anxiety, I think about a lot, like, I have, like, a shrine to Harry Styles tattooed on my body. What if he became a bad person? Like...
Or was a bad person the whole time. Like, right. You found out like, that, like, you were wrong.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I would still be like, oh, fuck, no, that guy is awful. And, like, and I think that, like, within, like, I think that this is, like, the thing that people, like, talk about when they're, like, cancel culture, is, like, nobody, not nobody, but, like, people don't want to feel like they have to let go of someone that only exists to them. You know, like, Harry Styles doesn't know I exist. So, like, but, like, this image that we've created of celebrities, like, people have a hard time letting go of them. And so, like things like that 70s show guys, like, people are like, oh my god, no, I grew up on that 70s show. I love that 70s show. Like, I can't believe they're bad people. And, like, they don't want to believe that, like, people, like, I remember, like, I had such a hard time being like, fuck, I can never rewatch Glee. I don't ever want to see that man on my screen again, whatever his name was. I don't ever want to rewatch it. But, like, I loved Glee when I was in high school. And so, like, I think that's, like, what people don't like about, like, the cancel culture. Like, they don't want to have to let go of their favorite celebrities. And I feel like when it's somebody who they like handpicked to run their country, it's like amplified. And so they don't want to be like, no, like, I was wrong, he is a bad person. And, like, I have seen some people, like, that I know who voted for him and have now that all they talk about now is like, these people are in the Epstein files, get them the fuck away from us, arrest them. And, like, I think that, you know, wish he could have come around sooner.
Yeah, I think,
but, like, it's okay.
The thing to say is, the better time would have been then. The second best time is now.
Right. So I just think, like, I want people to, like, hear this, and I want to, like, reach someone. And, like, I'm not saying this from, like, a place of, like, hatred and, like, you are an idiot and, like, all these things, but, like, genuinely, like, it is okay to, like, pause and think about, like, I have always held this to be a true belief that children should not be harmed. And now I have evidence.
And adult women. I'm so sick of this line being drawn that it's like, well, and this is a specific podcast I listen to where this line is drawn often, where it's like, well, when it's children, that will be my line. No, you all listen to fucking true crime and you get mad when it's grown adult women too. So keep that in mind.
Like, if you have long held this belief that it's wrong to murder, it's wrong to rape, then like you can't like pick and choose which people it's wrong for. Like, and so like I like mean this like so genuinely, like just truly like sit down and think about like, is this evidence enough for me? It should be. It's a government document, and based on that information, do I now know I can no longer support this person? And it should, you should come out with a pretty clear answer if that's one of your moral beliefs.
Strongly, yeah. I think I also would love to remind people in general that like we have free will. And I see this being talked about on the internet a lot. You have free will to like paint things pink and to like be whimsy and all the things. You also have free will to spend your money places that align with your beliefs, to support people that align with your beliefs, to listen to music by people who align with your beliefs, watch movies made by people. Like, you have the free will to like curate your life in some ways, right? Like some things are like you got to buy what's cheap and you got to buy like what you can afford. But like you very much have free will to vote, albeit they're making it more difficult. But like I think we should just all remember that like life doesn't have to happen to you. Like you have free will to choose where your allegiances go. And if you're even a little bit unsure, if someone has made any like moral, even if it's their association with immoral people, you have the free will to say like, yeah, or I'll half support them. I'm not that interested anymore.
Is this your way of telling us you're done with Taylor Swift?
No.
But yeah, I think that like life goes on, you know. Every decision you make is not a hard stop, and like it's okay to grow and change as a person. And I hope that some of you do. And
I would guess not a lot of you are here, but might be some.
You never know. I forgot what else I wanted to say. But yeah, that's it. I guess
that was good stuff.
Thanks.
Yeah.
Okay.
Way to bring down the vibes.
Thank you.
But I will say, I think we should really take, whether it's in our country or not, globalism is real. The whole world is one. I think we should take Prince Andrew's arrest as a win. Like, I think that is like a win for justice, and like we should celebrate that.
Yeah. I saw someone say, like, on Threads, somebody was like, as a U.S. citizen, can somebody outside of the U.S. comment, are people being arrested in your country for these things? And they were like, yes.
Yeah.
In it everywhere else.
At the very least, they're losing their jobs.
Yeah.
But nar.
Right. Anyway.
Okay. Well,
and that's why we record true crime first.
Hope you all be thinking now.
Yeah. Send it to your Republican enemies.
Yeah. Or friends, loved ones. If you have any.
Nope.
Okay.
Bye.
Bye.